Definitions. Buyer and seller. Buyer means a person who buys or agrees to buy goods. Seller means a person who sells or agrees to sell goods. Goods means every kind of movable property other than actionable claims and money, and includes stock and shares, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of land, which are agreed to be severed/separated from land before sale or under contract of sale. Actionable claims are claims, which can be enforced only by an action or suit, for example, debt. Classification of goods. 1. Existing goods. Existing goods are those goods which are in existence at the time of the contract of sale. Those goods are owned or possessed or acquired by the seller at the time of contract. Existing goods are of 3 types. A. Specific goods. Specific goods means goods identified and agreed upon at the time of contract of sale. B. Ascertained goods. Ascertained goods are those goods which are identified in accordance with agreement after contract of sale is made. When out of a lot or out of large quantity of unascertained goods, the number or quantity contracted for is identified. Such identified goods are called ascertained goods. C. Unascertained goods. Unascertained goods are those goods which are not specifically identified or ascertained at the time of making of the contract. They are indicated or defined only by description or sample. 2. Future goods. Future goods means goods to be manufactured or produced or acquired by the seller after making the contract of sale. Future goods are always agreement to sell. It is never actual sell because a person cannot transfer what is not in existence. 3. Contingent goods. The acquisition of goods which depends upon an uncertain contingency are called contingent goods. It is always agreement to sell. In the case of contingent goods also, the property does not pass to the buyer at the time of making the contract. Delivery. Means voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another. Delivery of goods may be made by doing anything, which has the effect of putting the goods in the possession of the buyer, or any person authorized to hold them on his behalf. Kinds of delivery. 1. Actual delivery. When goods are physically delivered to buyer. Actual delivery take place when the seller transfers of physical possession of goods to the buyer or to a third person authorized to hold the goods on behalf of buyer. 2. Constructive delivery. When transfer of goods is effected without any change in the custody or actual possession. It takes place when a person in possession of goods belonging to seller acknowledges to buyer that he holds the goods on buyer's behalf, that is delivery by attornment. 3. Symbolic delivery. Where there is delivery of a thing in token of transfer of something else, that is, delivery may be made by handing over documents of title, like bill of lading or railway receipt/key of a warehouse. Where actual delivery is not possible, there may be delivery of the means of getting possession of the goods. The following elements must coexist so as to constitute a contract of sale. 1. There must be at least 2 parties. 2. The seller and the buyer and the two must be different persons. 3. Subject matter must necessarily be goods covering only movable property. It may be either existing goods or future goods. 4. A price in money, not in kind, should be paid or promised, but there is nothing to prevent the consideration from being partly in money and partly in kind. 5. Transfer of property from seller to the buyer must take place. Contract of sale made by an offer for a price and acceptance of such offer. 6. A contract of sale may be absolute or conditional. 7. All other essential elements of a valid contract must be present in the contract. How contract of sale is made. 1. Contract of sale is made by an offer to buy or sell goods for a price and acceptance of such offer. 2. There may be immediate delivery of the goods. Or 3. There may be immediate payment of price, but it may be agreed that the delivery is to be made at some future date. Or 4. There may be immediate delivery of goods and an immediate payment of price. Or 5. It may be agreed that delivery or payment or both are to be made in installments. Or 6. It may be agreed that delivery or payment or both are to be made at some future date. Subject matter of contract of sale, existing or future goods. The goods which form the subject matter of contract of sale may be either existing goods that are acquired, owned, possessed by the seller, or future goods or contingent goods which acquisition depends upon contingency, which may or may not happen. Goods perishing before making of contract. Where there is contract for sale of specific goods, contract is void if the goods without the knowledge of seller have perished or damaged, that they are no longer answer to their description given in contract. Goods perishing before sale but after agreement to sell. Where there is agreement to sell specific goods and subsequently goods without any fault on the part of seller or buyer, perish or damaged that they are no longer answer to their description. Before the risk passes to buyer, agreement is avoided or becomes void. Perishing of future goods. If future goods are specific, destruction of such goods will amount to supervening impossibility, and contract shall become void. Ascertainment of price. Price means monetary consideration for sale of goods. Price may be fixed by the contract, or agreed to be fixed in a manner provided by the contract, or determined by the course of dealings between the parties. Agreement to sell at valuation. Determination of price by third party. 1. Where there is an agreement to sell goods on terms that price has to be fixed by third party, and he either does not or cannot make such valuation, the agreement will be void. 2. In case third party is prevented by either party from fixing the price, the party at fault will be liable to damages to other party who is not at fault. 3. However, buyer who has received and appropriated the goods must pay a reasonable price.